So, welcome to today's reading of The Great Cosmic Mother. Today, we're going to be starting the second part of the book, which is called Women's Early Religion. And chapter 6 is The First Mother. Biology is not destiny, but like the sea, it is a beginning. The mysteries of female biology dominated human religious and artistic thought, as well as social organization, for at least the first 200,000 years of human life on Earth. The first human images known to us are the so-called Venuses in the Upper Paleolithic remains, 35,000 to 10,000 BC. From the way these statues are positioned and located in cave hearths, niches, and graves, they are interpreted as cult images, the mother guardians of the daily life, death, and rebirth of the people. These Venuses, carved from stone, bone, and ivory, and shaped from clay, are very fleshy, more or less stylized to represent pregnancy and abundance. Though named after Venus, the Roman goddess of love, they are no longer seen by archaeologists as Cro-Magnon bunnies. They are not sex objects. They are magic images of the mysterious power of the female to create life out of herself and to sustain it. These statues have no feet. The legs taper to a point so they could be stuck upright in a soft hearth or niche. They were placed elsewhere. These statues appear in Europe with the appearance of the Cro-Magnons, but much earlier during the Neanderthaloid period, dating from at least 200,000 BC, evidence shows the great magical power was attributed to the earth as mother of life and death. Neanderthals buried their dead curled in fetal position, painted red. Bones were painted with red ochre. Analogically, the dead were to re-enter the earth, the tomb, the womb, to be reborn again. The Neanderthal corpse found in Shanidar Cave in northern Iraq had been laid to rest on pine boughs and strewn with wild flowers. Even earlier than this, a remarkable find at La Ferracie in the French limestone country shows the beautiful resonance that was felt in the minds and hearts of these earliest people between life, death, and the mother. In a rock shelter, a child's grave was found covered in a large stone slab. On the underside of the slab, cupules had been scooped out. These were all in pairs to symbolize the mother's breasts. These breast-shaped cupule markings were made throughout prehistory. They are found over great areas of outcropped rock in Europe. But on this stone slab in France, covering a Neanderthal child's grave, is where they first appear. Mircea Eliade, a great student of Aboriginal religious symbolism and shamanism, speaks of a primary intuition of the earth as a religious form. The earth was seen by all primal people as the source of nourishment, protection, power, and the mystery of cyclic reoccurrence. Perhaps the first human analogy made was between the earth and the female, who performed the same functions on an individual level. Especially awesome was the woman's ability to bleed rhythmically with the moon's phases and her periodic swelling up and dramatic expulsion of a new being. Paintings of the mother giving birth, with the expulsed child still connected to her via the umbilical cord, are found throughout the Cro-Magnon caves. Childbirth is a powerful drama and ritual. To imagine the enormous impact of pregnancy and childbirth on our human ancestors, we have to remember that Paleolithic people, like many Aboriginal people today, did not know the connection between intercourse and pregnancy. The male role might have been seen as an opening of the womb, but pregnancy itself was seen as resulting from the magical intercourse between the mother and the spirit world, or it was seen as a parthenogenic act, the women as spontaneous and autonomous creator of life. In these cave drawings of childbirth and the Venus statues, as well as the many images of gravid animals, The fertility of the earth and woman was imagined and celebrated as a spiritual magical act to ensure the year's abundance of game and fruit. The seasonal return of vegetation and young animal life following winter and apparent death gave early humans the idea of a magical, cyclical rebirth of their own kind. Entombments, whether cave graves or the later underground vaults in collective burial mounds, were ways of returning bodies to the womb of Mother Earth, where they waited for rebirth. In the later megalithic porthole tombs, holes were laboriously chiseled out of the portal slabs at the grave entrance to simulate the birth canal opening. Even later, in Egypt, the overarching sky goddess Nut was painted on the inside of coffin lids. This is a lovely echo of that first stone slab placed over the Neanderthal grave with its mother's breast protectively covering and nourishing the dead child as it waited to be reborn. Death is the powerful, dramatic mystery equals to birth, and both are overarched and contained by the Great Mother. This concept of a female earth as the source of cyclic birth, life, death, and rebirth underlies all mythological and religious symbology. It is the source of all religious belief. It is important to grasp the time dimension involved. God was female for at least the first 200,000 years of human life on Earth. This is a conservative estimate. Wooden images of the Mother God were doubtless carved long before the Cro-Magnon Venuses, but wood does not survive. And long before the first breast shapes were carved in the Neanderthal grave slab or the red ochred bodies were first placed fetal position in the cave earth, the idea, the symbolic image, the resonant analogy preceding all icons was in the minds and the hearts of our earliest ancestors. In the world's oldest creation myths, the female god creates the world out of her own body. The Great Mother everywhere was the active and autonomous creatrix of the world. And unlike the aloof and self-righteous patriarchal gods who only recently usurped her mountain throne, the ancient goddess was always there, alive, immanent with her creation. No ontological scapegoater, she was wholly responsible for both the pain and the good of life. Here is one of the oldest world creation myths from Northwest India. At first, Kujum Chantu, the earth, was like a human being. She had a head, arm, and legs, and an enormous fat belly. The original human beings lived on the surface of her belly. One day it occurred to Kujum Chantu that if she ever got up and walked about, everyone would fall off and be killed. So she herself died of her own accord. Her head became the snow-covered mountains. The bones of her back turned into smaller hills. Her chest was the valley where the Aptanis lived. From her neck came the north country of the Najins. Her buttocks turned into the Assam plain. And just as the buttocks are full of fat, Assam has fat-rich soil. Kujum Chantu's eyes became the sun and moon, and from her mouth was born Kujum Papi, who sent the sun and the moon to shine in the sky. Mount Everest in nearby Nepal was only recently affixed with the name of a 19th century British surveyor. In reality, this tallest breast of Earth was always known by the native people who live with her as Chomo Lunguma, Mother Mountain of the Universe.